Well, Kurt, the ICC has put forward an anthem. An official anthem is called Live the Game. And the anthem, the campaign, features four avatars. Virat Kohli, the captain of India, Kieran Pollard, West Indies skipper, Rashid Khan, the ace spinner from Afghanistan, and the fourth one being Glenn Maxwell, the all-rounder from Australia. Three of the four are out, with only Australia remaining. The ICC would want Australia to win, but New Zealand may have other thoughts on that and will want to knock them out.
Welcome, Sports Nation, to Sports DTM, the sports channel where we call sports down the middle. You can expect the latest in sports news, views, and reviews from our resident analysts. No sports topic is too controversial, and no team or player is above criticism. So just smash that subscribe button and ring that notification bell to make sure you don't miss out on our balanced offering of riveting sports content. And don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment below. Welcome to Sports DTM.
Greetings, Sports DTM fans, and welcome to another episode of Sports Down the Middle. The final of the ICC T20 World Cup is upon us, and this will feature New Zealand versus Australia. Adrian and I are here to break down what will happen in this final. Adrian, welcome to Sports DTM.
Thank you, Kurt. Welcome, viewers. It's exciting times. Sorry we can't have the West Indies here to talk about, but yet still nonetheless an exciting matchup awaits us, Australia versus New Zealand, and we're looking forward to it.
And if you're new to this channel, always remember to just click that subscription button and welcome to the Sports DTM family. Adrian, Australia, New Zealand is always a big matchup. The teams from way down under. They have played 14 matches between them. Australia winning 9, New Zealand 5, right? They have played one match against each other in the T20 World Cup so far, not this one, but New Zealand won that game by 6 runs. In their last 5 matches against each other, New Zealand hold the advantage 3-2, right? And if we're to look at how both teams progress into the finals, New Zealand, of course, ranked 5th, Australia ranked 6th in the ICC T20 ranking. Australia beat Pakistan, who was unbeaten throughout the competition by 5 wickets.
Just a note.
Right.
I'm looking at the now updated record, and it has New Zealand at 4th and Australia at 6th.
Right. Yes. So New Zealand is ranked 4th, Australia 6th. And Australia made it to the finals by beating Pakistan in the semi-finals by 5 wickets. At one point, we thought Pakistan would have run away with the match, but some great power hitting in the back end of the chase saw Australia winning by 5 wickets. And New Zealand beating England by 5 wickets as well.
Oh, England.
England was overwhelming favorites coming into this World Cup with the number 1 ranking and the highest possibility of winning, and they never made the final. 1 up for New Zealand. Now, Australia versus New Zealand, Adrian. What's your thoughts? Based on the records of both teams, do you see any of the teams having an advantage going into this final?
Well, Kurt, thank you. Australia versus New Zealand in the T20 World Cup final is the unexpected final. No one saw these teams making it through, despite their record, specifically Australia being a juggernaut in cricket. But they were not the fancy teams. There were a lot more talks about India, Pakistan, England, the number one team, the red hot favorites. But nobody saw Australia breaking through the seam. Probably only the ICC who had Australia as one of their avatars, had them on the line, and as we looked at it, as we said, the ICC would have had Virat Kohli, the Indian captain, Rashid, the Afghanistan. You would have also had Maxwell, the Australian, of course, Kieran Pollard, the West Indian. And of those four, only the Australian team is left back here. But we look back at the record and realize that New Zealand has always played second fiddle to Australia.
All right.
New Zealand has never beaten Australia in any knockout match they have played, right? 17 quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals. Australia has won 16. The one that New Zealand won wasn't a knockout, right? And as such, it's tough to look beyond Australia because they can be a bully. But I like what I saw of New Zealand. They look pretty deep. They look pretty solid. And when you can hit out the hot favorites, England, and just brush them aside, it means that you have a lot to offer. And I love to see the rivalry between bigger clubs and the underdog, and bigger teams rather, in terms of nationalities, and the underdogs. And New Zealand brings that flavor.
I hear you, and I hear the stats, and based on the rankings, I'm not sure why you put New Zealand as the underdog, but I understand.
Because Australia has always beaten them. I just said it. Australia has beaten them in a knockout match. Australia is like a bully.
But based on the current T20 ranking, Australia would be the underdog, considering that they're ranked 6th. But I do understand the culture, and we can relate to it in the West Indies as it relates to smaller nations or smaller islands. Yes. And the way we treat them in cricket. And New Zealand for years has always played second fiddle to Australia. They're neighbors from way down under. And for some reason, they have always gotten that bad cousin treatment in cricket. And I'm sure New Zealand will be pumped coming into this final, their first final. And Australia, as you say, a juggernaut in cricket, has been to a T20 final before. They lost in 2010. So there will be a new winner. I'm not particularly pleased because I'm not so much a fan of any of these teams. Yes, I've said it. I'm in black, but more in the West Indies. I'm not such a fan of both of these teams, but there will be a new winner. New Zealand making their first final. And we're having some team news, right? Devon Conway, while the New Zealanders are pumped. For some strange reason, Devon Conway has punched his way out of the final.
Oh, no.
He was disappointed after being out in the semifinals. And guess what? He punched the bat.
Punched his way out.
Punched the bat in disappointment and broke his hand. He was doing fairly well in the competition at 129 runs at an average of 32.25. New Zealand will miss such a player in this matchup. And if we're to look at the key players for both teams.
Yeah. Punching his way out of the finals.
Yeah, so I'm sure Devon is disappointed to have done such a thing, and we would encourage all the players out there. If you're disappointed in something, don't punch something hard, right? Or another person. Punch one soft sponge.
He punched his bat, right?
He punched his bat. Maybe he should have punched the pad or something. But an interesting matchup, these two teams. We saw in the semifinals, David Warner batting at the top of the order. Really, Pakistan was extremely excited when they got him and they thought that was the end. but Australia and their experience pulled it off against Pakistan. David Warner, I think, will be a key player. He has scored 236 runs so far in the tournament, averaged 47.2 at a strike rate of 148. For New Zealand, who you think will be that game changer if there will be such a player?
New Zealand, David Warner obviously has been a good servant of the game for years. Good in
Right.
the field, good with the bat, leading from the front. Although Aaron Finch is the captain, but he has done well. On the New Zealand side, they have a pretty deep batting lineup, but I think Martin Guptill will want to come good. He hasn't fired as well as we thought that he would, but he has to really go off. We also expect that they'll do well with Nisham and those guys. And the idea is that for New Zealand, they will need an all-round good team effort. So you're talking about a Tim Saudi and a Trent Bolt really expected to restrict the Australians as much as possible. And we know their quality. But definitely, you're looking for Martin Guptill to come to the party and to do pretty well.
I hear you talk about Tim Saudi and Trent Bolt. And in fact, Trent Bolt is New Zealand leading wicket taker with 11 wickets so far. Tim Saudi with 8. And and for Australia, Adam Zampa have 12 wickets, right? Michelle Marsh 9, Josh Hazelwood 8. So on the wicket taking side, they're pretty even as it relates to wicket.
Isn't that a contrast, Kurt? You're talking about Zampa with us. We're told that these particular pitches favor spinners. So Zampa doing very well, but when you look at it, at Trent Bolt, for example, leading his team as a fast bowler, tells you that if you're good, you're just good. Whether you're a spinner or a pace bowler, if you know how to get those balls in the right pockets, if you know how to pitch the ball in the correct blocks, you're gonna get wickets. You're going to be able to restrict bowlers. And so these quality players are showing that whether I'm a spinner or a seamer, yes, the conditions can affect me, but if I'm that good, I have to find ways to overcome the conditions. And that's what Zampa is doing for Australia and Bolt is doing for New Zealand.
And if we're to look at the Pakistan Australia semi-finals, for instance, we had Afridi bowling extremely hard and accurate in the top of the order, leading the line with the new ball, and he was particularly brutal up front, and he pretty much put the win in Pakistan through in the first half of their defense. And right. I was looking at it and I'm like, a bowler like this is not a spin bowler, no, this is a pace bowler running in. He reminded me of Curtly Ambrose. I'm going to say it. And you have said it on several times. This is a sidetrack now. Ambrose is 4-1 up on Chris Gayle. 4-0, 4-1. What's the score?
5-0. 5-0, okay.
5-0, okay. Back to this now.
Ambrose 5. Gayle 0.
Afridi reminded me of a young Curtly Ambrose running in, pitching the ball up at the right spot. And if we have Tim Saudi Trent Bolt doing something similar to what Afridi did against Australia, then it might be over with the fast bowlers in this final.
Yes. So Trent Bolt had something different. You talk about the spinners and these pitches being pretty much made for a lot of spin, but the quality fast bowlers are showing that all I need to do is to play to my game and drop it in the right block holes, do the right rotations on the ball. Obviously, people are depending upon whether or not they will be due to affect the how wet the ball is, how the spinners or the players can actually grip the ball. So those things are important aspects. But when you're good, you're good. And so when the West Indies pretty much, and I'm sorry to go there, but the West Indies obviously didn't trust a lot of their pacers. They had the O'Shane Thomas sitting on the bench. Sadly, Obed McCoy got injured. Ravi Rampal, the strike bowler, I said it before, on strike. So we didn't have that same quality. But these teams are showing that if you have the right quality, you can disrupt whatever the pitch is showing at you, and you can do very well. So it was quite impressive watching Afridi and, of course, Trent Bolt. I'm sure others out there, fans, can actually tell you about other players who they see doing really, really well in terms of the fast bowling.
Right, and I hear you mention about dew being a factor. And in the post-match review, Australia's captain said that, well, there wasn't any dew. I don't know if he was trying to say, hey, we won on merit,
Absolutely.
or the conditions never favored us any at all. But we have seen in this competition where winning the toss and chasing seems to be the favored position, because a higher percentage of the team that chase wins the match. How important is this toss in this final?
Yes, Kurt. So winning the toss has proven to probably about 80% or more the teams who have won the toss have actually gone on to win the game. No surprise, and that's a 4-1 layout there. So your percentages and your chance of winning are higher. However, winning the toss does not guarantee that you'll win the game, because one, as the Australian captain said, if the dew doesn't come down, you don't have an advantage. If you don't put up a big score, you still don't have an advantage. So when you have quality players, both batters, bowlers, fielders, which are three important facets of the game, then you expect that you have to be on your P's and Q's. I mean, England went out there, did a very good score, right? Looked like they could have had enough, what, over 160 other runs. They had a good
Right.
lineup, excellent spin bowlers and all of that. I figured to themselves, boy, they should be able to have enough to carry them home. Granted that they're actually feeling first, but nonetheless, you expected that they should have been able to handle their business. But it boils down to the quality of your team, the balance of your team. I think these two teams are extremely balanced from start to finish. Good opening batsmen, good attacking players to hit those boundaries, good players to rotate the strike, excellent middle order players, and also good fielders. And to top it off, they don't just have spinners alone. They have a good mix of spinners and also pace bowlers and good wicket keepers. Excellent captains as well, who can strategize in terms of how they set up their teams and how they want to approach innings. So we're expecting an exciting final.
I hear you. The only thing you haven't mentioned in that is the culture between the two teams.
Oh,
But it,
absolutely.
it's going to be a very exciting match. New Zealand and Australia both played excellent cricket leading
Yep.
up to the final. So who you have for win this one,
Well,
or
well,
who you
Kurt,
want to win?
well, Kurt, you just call it out. I mean, the cultures play a critical role. You're talking about the underdogs, and you don't want me to say it, but New Zealand, while they're on top in terms of the standing, Australia coming to be the expected favorites. But the Australians, I like their the fight that they put in, and as I say, four avatars, three gone home, one remaining. We expect, and I expect, that New Zealand, with their depth, they have knocked off the number one ranked team in England, right? We're just flying. And while Australia are brutish, and you'd expect that they would dominate and win, I just have a feeling that New Zealand will come to the party and come in a big way, and we'll see a new champion being crowned. Either way, right? I'm calling it for New Zealand to get the upset over Australia in this final. Go back home and celebrate against your friendly neighbors.
So I'm not going to use any stats to tell the fans out there that I prefer New Zealand. I'm going to use it. Maybe bad mind, right? Australia has a record. They've been Test champion. They've been ODI champion. They've been at number one in Test cricket for years. New Zealand, on the other hand, is on the rise. They've recently won the Test championship. I don't recall if they have any ODI championship. So the T20 is up for grabs between both teams. Australia missing this one from their cabinet. I want them continue to miss this one from their cabinet. So on that basis, I know I just mentioned a little stats, but my primary reason for choosing New Zealand is bad mind. Fans, I'm sorry.
Stop it. Get your bad mind out, man.
For choosing New Zealand, yeah. So, but fans
New Zealand deserve a win, right?
Yes, they do. They deserve this. They have been struggling under that second fiddle, far cousin, bad mind behavior against Australia for years, and it's full time them rise and show them neighbors say, "Here, me not one just one little island around there. So when no, but cricket, I can actually beat you at it." So on that basis, fans out there, we would love to hear from you. It will be a great matchup this final, but I want New Zealand to dominate. Who do you want to dominate? Just leave those comments in the comment section below. And always remember to like, to share, and to subscribe. And to tell a friend, tell all of them friends to come and join the Sports DTM family. We're road to 50K. So come and join it. Call all your friends and come and join. Thank you for the support. We sign off on Cricket T20 ICC with the finals, New Zealand against Australia. Be blessed.